it was no money coming out of our account. So we thought, again, this may be a way to deter speeders. It may be a way for us to save some money and put something in there that will help the township. So there was a lot of thought that went into this. There was work that went into this. There was questions that were asked about this. It just wasn't something that just popped off in my head and said, let's just throw these things in here and you know, and throw noise in front of your homes and everything else, because quite frankly, I'm affected by it also. So anyway, I just wanted to explain that to you so you understood how we came up with this and why we wanted to do this. And the end result is, to this whole thing too, is that if we did install the rumble strips, and if it was that much of a noise factor, if it was that much, you know, disturbing people, stuff like that, they could simply be filled in. You know, it wasn't like these are something that you put there and they're there forever and we couldn't get rid of them. So if the township the citizens of the township had agreed to put in these rumble strips and it turned out that it was negative, if it really didn't do what we expected it to do, then they could have just been filled in and that would have been the end of it. So I just
that would have been at the cost of the taxpayer.
That would have been at our cost, yes.
Yes, the county said that.
Right, that would have been at our cost. But anyway, so I just want to explain to you how we came to all of this and why we came to it and why we tried to do it, okay? So you just don't think that it was just something we were trying to push on you and impose on you, because it's not. You know, if that was the case, we would have sent a letter out to inform everybody, and I would have stood up here and felt like I was in the shed with my dad or something, you know? So, but anyway, thank you for coming out and expressing your opinions. It's well received. Thank you.
I just have a small comment. Increasing the police presence on South Main, North Main, Washington streets. A couple of years ago, there was a petition signed by Washington Valley Road residents, of which Mr. Kalari is a resident. And he probably wrote it, and he probably signed it. And he's probably one of the people who got a ticket because he was racing down there when they increased police presence. So, yeah, it happens a lot that we don't even know how fast we're going. So once police presence is increased, be careful.
Here, but I need to make a comment on that with the police presence. I mean, hearing a lot of this, and I understand what everybody's saying, and I know people say it's a, you know, there's 10 cops, where are they at, what's going on? I just want to explain to you guys that we got 119 streets in this township, okay? And almost every single one of them has a complaint similar to what's going on up in you know, your neighborhoods here in these four corners. We ran, and before this was even coming up, so this wasn't like we ran out and let's set up a bunch of radar posts so everybody, you know, can say, oh, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We ran 154 radar posts in the 213 days on this section of Greenwich Street from the municipal building down, Washington Street, South Main Street, and the lower section of North Main Street. We issued, I think, 154 summonses. We issued another 160 warnings. And during that same time, you know, because like I said, we have 119 other roads that people are complaining about, we ran another 400 radar posts. So we're talking, you're almost at 550, 600 radar posts in the first 7 months of the year, and wrote another 1,107 tickets on these other jurisdictions. And while that's still going on, you know, like you said, we're trying to deploy the guys, we're trying to get them out there, but during that same time, last year we had 341 arrests. That's almost one a day. Last night, we had myself and one other officer on, and I don't know, I think a couple of the residents probably saw we had that truck stopped out there. Gentleman was 4 times the legal limit. So we have an arrest going on there. In the meantime, we had all the kids walking down to Rita's Ice. So we had a cop stationed up there. We're doing the arrest with this. Then a car accident comes in over at another place on 519, so that other officer had to deploy there. We finally get the person in here, get the paperwork just about done at 8 o'clock, and we get a call, and then there's a heroin arrest up at the old former Phillipsburg Inn. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is I'm not making excuses, but what I'm trying to say is we hear your concerns. I'm trying to deploy the guys the best we can, but even with just those 2 arrests, the 2 guys that were involved in that, including myself, have about 6 hours of paperwork on the next shift just to take care of those 2 arrest cases. So, I'll do what I can to get additional officers out there. But we did, like I said, we ran 154 posts just on those 4 roads. I have, one resident, I won't mention her name, Dot, harassing me constantly. Where you at? No, and that's, and part of this whole rumble strip, and I don't want Dan or Mike to take the smack for all of this, because they, also came to me, and it's been, I guess, about 3 years we were trying to come up with different things. We used to put the cop car out there with the mannequin in it. If you guys remember that, and we would move it out for an hour and move it back, and then one night we got tied up and we couldn't move the car, so when we got out there in the morning to get it, people put beer cans on the car in front of the mannequin, so that kind of killed that for us for a little bit. But what I'm getting at is, we'll keep trying with other stuff, we'll try to deploy more, but, with the demands and the call volume going up, we did almost 10,000 calls last year for this little town. And a lot of it is all up at the strip malls up here at the box retail. But we'll do the best we can to kind of pick it up for you guys and do what we can.
That's just it. We need more officers.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
that's
not
So we're an
saying that.
18-hour shift.
That's not up to me. That's,
Yeah, but that's not what we're saying. We're saying you should hire more officers. That's what we need.
Well,
I'd rather
again-
put my money into that than put my money into, it's like when they put the cameras up on 22. Everybody screamed and yelled and had a pitch to fit. They bring in all kinds of money. But you know what? I can actually go up there and cross the intersection now and not be scared to death that somebody's going to come flying through one of the things, because they know they're going to get their picture taken.
One other last thing is that I know with the radar, a lot of people don't understand that it has to work a certain way, meaning you have to have a certain angle, you have to have a tracking speed. So it's not that we can just hide behind a building and as soon as they go by, we're able to catch them. There's a certain amount of feet distance, there's a lot of things involved to be able to enforce the radar. And I think, I don't know if it was one of the members of the committee had said, is that it is the same people coming through.
It is.
Like you said, Eric. And what happens is they do know. I came up here one time and my wife's Chevy Uplander had parked over by, Dan, by your house at the Belclair Farm, and parked in there, and people were zooming by. And then you're sitting there with a marked unit, and you could actually, see people's faces and their heads turning, boom, then they go, as soon as they realize there's not a police officer there. So, like I said, we'll try to step it up the best we can, but like I said, we're doing the best we can at this point. With the, yes, ma'am.
tickets that you're issuing, are they more out-of-towners coming through our town, or are they?
The majority of them are out of town that are coming through. They are, once the Walmart opened, and I know you guys had a lot of traffic on Washington Street prior to that, but when that opened up, that is a cut through. They avoid the light here at Main Street or getting down to 519, so they come right down, of course, through your street. Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's a lot of outside. The majority of them would be outside the jurisdiction that are getting
A lot of them are going to work in the morning. I come down here at 5:30 in the morning, and they're coming down off of 57, down what I call the back road, and they're flying, because I own the house on the corner of the
Yep.
back road. And I mean, they're coming off that highway at 50 miles an hour, and that speed limit there is 25.
Dot, you had something you wanted to say?
All they asked for is a couple big signs on the street.
And see what you started?
People know there's 25 mile ahead.
I could just say, who pays for that? If we wanted our speed limit signs to be not this big, but bigger ones with the little orange triangle thing on, who pays for that on the road?
Thank you, Chief.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hold you up.
Yeah, no,
What
it's
they
okay.
do is on the back, they say 25, like when you go through Yardley, you go from 35 to 25. You come, before you get to 25, there's one that says, a little thing that says 25 miles ahead, so you're getting a warning to slow down.
Dan, I think you wanted to comment before I make a motion. No. Okay. All right, hearing no other committee members wish to make a comment, I would like to make a motion to withdraw any consideration, no, that's not strong enough, to reject the use of rumble strips as a mechanism to combat speeding on both North Main Street, South Main Street, and Washington Street. Okay, roll call.
Perez?
Yes.
Siegel?
Yes.
Valori?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Torriello?
Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. Next item on the agenda, just briefly, I'm gonna just take them a little bit out of order. Just an update on the asphalt litigation plan. The state has asked for an extension of 30 days briefing. So then our attorney will have a chance to reply, and then a oral argument scheduled would be issued by the court. So I'm confident that any oral argument will take place after January, after the new year. And tying into that, and one of the main reasons why we oppose, the primary reason for the opposition to the asphalt plant is it's being, the proposed construction is directly over Greenwich Township's aquifer. Every resident of Greenwich Township, whether at some point in time will be affected if that well is contaminated. That's certainty, and there was testimony presented on that. So there's other issues in terms of truck and traffic and noise and smoke and all of the other things, but the primary consideration was, as it should be, the health and safety of Greenwich residents, primarily with respect to the drinking water, which ties into the next item on the agenda. There are already residents of Greenwich Township, including Engineer Finelli and myself, and some in the audience who live in Paysetter, and we are directly impacted by a current Superfund site. In Franklin Township, they exercise the same, in my opinion, lack of judgment that Wapakon Township has demonstrated with the asphalt plant, and they allowed an industrial use directly over an aquifer. It is now literally a Superfund site, and the plume of contamination has spread to Greenwich residents. I have received contact from the EPA last week, and all affected residents received direct contact asking for an authorization so they can undertake survey to hook up. I also received contact because they are coordinating an initial meeting between the mayor of Greenwich Township and the mayor of Franklin Township. That's taking place next Wednesday night. It is not, I do not believe it's not a public hearing. It is not for public comment. They're not anywhere near that, and I'll be honest with you, there will be a point where there will be public comment, but I think I can say it's happening. There's not going to be a debate as to whether. This is part of federal Superfund site remediation. It's a singular matter of federal law. It is federal funds. It is how they have chosen to remediate, because all of the other mechanisms that they have deployed right now are not sufficiently satisfactory, and they're less cost effective. But I did print, and if you'll just give me a second, because what I did do, because I know as an affected resident, one of the issues for me is cost. Everybody's going to want to know, what's it going to cost me? And we went back and forth, and I got some statements verbally, and then I contacted their counsel in New York, and I said, as an attorney myself, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. So I don't want verbal promises. I want a written statement from the EPA, and I received one. So, and this I will have posted on our website, but just I want to read it into the record, and this is a statement that I received from the EPA directly. Regarding the Powhatan Valley groundwater contamination Superfund site and the United States Environmental Protection Agency's plan to install a public water supply in the OU2 area of Franklin and Greenwich Townships, and that is the Paysetter coming down. EPA has received several inquiries from residents concerning who will bear the cost of providing the public water supply and sealing the existing wells. Please be advised that the EPA will install the water lines and connect your house to the public water supply at no cost to you. EPA will also seal your existing well at no cost to you. In addition, at no cost to you, EPA will restore your property substantially the same condition as existed before the water line was installed to the extent practicable You can tell that was written by an attorney. Once your house is connected to the public water supply, you will then be responsible for your monthly billing. I made further inquiry and said, can you keep your well water at least for the outside spigots for watering your lawn and your flowers? And the answer is absolutely not. It is not an option. It is not for discussion. The EPA will require all wells to be capped because they are concerned that a child playing ball outside could turn a hose on and drink the water. I said, we have a lot of farmers in Greenwich Township, and they farm, they water and hydrate their farmlands with well water. Is that going to impact them? And they said, absolutely not. The farmers will be allowed to continue to water their crops with well water.
Poison into the plant.
I'm telling you what the answer is. The answer to farmers is business as usual, except their home will have to be hooked up for drinking water. But their farming will not be impacted. They will continue to be allowed to use well water. So I just wanted to, and I said to them, okay, fast forward it, when are we actually going to have city water? When's it happen? They said probably 2015 is when it'll actually be, because there's a lot of steps, and and I also talked about opening up the roads and paving the roads. They're taking care of that. This is all part of the Superfund remediation. They treat all of this as, a direct impact. So it's good news for us. We don't have to budget for it. And, the Greenwich residents who are affected in that community, me included, don't have to worry about all of the carcinogens and everything else that is in the water right now.
Okay.
At some point.
What water supply are they going to hook you up to? What water company? The one that runs through
They are going to, it's a
now?
good question. I thought it would automatically be Aqua. That's not the case. The EPA is doing their own RFP, their own RFQ. So it's good. They're going to have a bidding process, and we will not have a say in that. That's part of what they're doing. I just thought it would automatically be that, but they said that's not the case.
No, because there's New Jersey American, which serves Franklin, so there's two choices. And just for, was we surprised that we really have talked about this?
No, we haven't, even though I know.
I was involved in this, almost an identical situation in Independence Township a number of years ago, when that was a site-specific contamination by a company by the name of ALR, and went through the entire water main extension program, so on and so forth. So everything that the mayor said is right on point. That's exactly the way this is handled. And it does take time, but it gets done. And the well exception, they will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. And if you have like a big garden and you think that's good enough, and that's not cutting the mustard. You have to be a real farmer for them to even consider the exception of maintaining your well. So again, that's a couple years old.
Mayor, you mentioned that the meeting is Wednesday between the two mayors. I'd like to have Joanne from our office attend that meeting as well.
Okay, she asked if we wanted to bring township professionals. I thought since there was not going to be any action, that this was going to be a listening tour, I thought we would save professional fees at this point, and whatever they propose, I was just going to say, put it in writing and we'll have our professionals review it. I was.
Joanne in our office expressed a
desire
desire
to
going, and
okay.
And I can discuss the issue of whether or not we'll bill for her time or not. I think it's just important that she attends that.
Okay.
And I don't want to let money be an issue regarding that.
Because I am extra sensitive to that as we're getting to the end of the year. So let's talk about that. I will have to notify them because in essence they basically said, if you're bringing your attorney, we're bringing ours. And if you're not, we're not. So,
Let me speak to Joanne tomorrow. We can talk about that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Public comment for this or question? Because I just have to, you said.
We'll do it at the end. We just hold that thought. So we did asphalt.
Joe, can I interject? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I know you're trying to move along. Under the circumstances, being that I'm the engineer for both Franklin and Greenwich, if you don't have a problem with me attending, I will go at no charge as well. Out of sheer interest.
I don't have a problem with folks coming. My concern is the cost to the taxpayer at this point in time, because it was definitively represented that no action will be taken, and of course, I'm going only in I'm not going with the authority or even the ability to undertake any action. This is more a listening tour and reporting back for the governing body's decision, which, by the way, and I could fill you in as to ultimately what would the action be asked of us. That I know the answer to that, and I can tell you right now. Ultimately, we're going to be called upon to draft an ordinance that will make it clear that all residents will have to hook up. And the ordinance will also make clear that it's not going to be to the cost. We'll figure something out. I'm looking at. I want to make sure I'm not saying something that the attorney's not comfortable with. Eventually, we're going to be discussing and deliberating and voting on. And I'm sure it's not going to happen in this calendar year. Though actually, it might. It might happen before December.
I think that's realistic.
I think it is realistic. Yeah, we'll have an ordinance, in place that will address this issue. But again, it's 2012. The actual impact on this won't be, according to them, they said best case scenario 2015. I mean, you know how things move. Yeah, no, I think it'll be less than 2020. But okay, fair enough. I will reach out. We don't have to waste any time. I will reach out and say that there's been an expression of interest of our township engineer and township attorney in attending the meeting, and I will copy you both on that email to the contact person from the EPA, Teresa Hawilka. I will send that out. So next, quickly, on the agenda is West Nile virus. I've received several phone calls, emails regarding an expressed concern of West Nile virus. In response to that, there were several statements released from the governor's office, FAQs. They're on the webpage. There's a link on the homepage for information. There is, according to the governor's office release, there have been no known cases of West Nile virus in Warren County, but I have seen conflicting reports on that. But the official press release from Trenton said none in Warren County. We did get some inquiry from residents by the Wyndham Farm catch basin, requesting that additional remediation steps be taken to cut the grass lower. We started to investigate and proceed in that option, and our John Howell of DPW says that someone from the Mosquito Control Commission came out last week, undertook an inspection, and made a determination that no cutting was necessary, further cutting within the catch basin, that the drainage, I think since the hay has been harvested by Mr. Oberly, there's been appropriate drainage, and that is the main issue to focus for combating West Nile. So I have a phone call out because I did not speak with the county directly, and I have a phone call out to this woman, and I've asked her for something in writing that says that no further remediation is necessary. And when we get something in writing, we'll post that on the webpage. If we don't get something in writing, my next question is going to be why not? And if you won't put it in writing, that gives me cause for concern, and we have to have a discussion as to what additional steps need to be taken. But that's the best I can update right now on West Nile. There is, just briefly, on the parks, there has been, Kim, you have ordered 4 new tables. That's been done?
Yes.
Okay, and they're going up on the Steckerfield Pavilion?
Yes.
And then that other table that's there now, you're relocating somewhere else? Down to another park? Okay. And we also had an inspection. There were some safety issues regarding some of the playground equipment. We have new 4 baby swings and 6 new adult swings have been ordered and will be installed by the DPW once they're received. We've also addressed the concern regarding signage,
Signs have ordered and they've been installed.
and any of the identified hazardous
And the
equipment
mulch.
has been moved, and it's been remulched. The park is, the playground has
Is
been.
at the level.
Okay, good. Last month, we had, I actually was able to join Tom at a rec meeting, and there was an issue, without getting specific or using names, there's been an issue regarding the use of social media. There's been a problem with it, quite frankly, and we need to develop as a township, really township-wide, a policy on social media that will address the use of social media. I don't think we're ready for that now. They asked Attorney Carney to look into that in terms of what the League of Municipalities recommends, what we need to consider in terms of its use and what can and can't be said, because both employees of Greenwich Township as well as volunteers, even if you are a volunteer within the township, whether you're volunteering on EMS or whether you're volunteering to coach Little League, you are a face of Greenwich Township, which means that, when you make certain statements on Facebook, and you think that it's okay because you have a First Amendment right, you do, but you don't have it in the capacity of when you're a volunteer or an employee. You have to be sensitive to that. So we're going to develop a social media policy that addresses this appropriately, and then volunteers are either going to agree to it, or if they don't, then they can't volunteer for the township. I mean, we're going to give them the choice. If somebody says, I have my First Amendment rights to say what I want, yes, you do. Then you can't coach Little League. Or you can't, that's how you exercise your First Amendment right. You absolutely have an unconditional right to say and do whatever you want. You absolutely do. But you can't do it in the context of being a face for a municipality. That's where the problem is. So it's like anything else, you have to make a choice, in terms of, balancing whatever's important to you. And it was something that the rec committee had asked be developed right away. They wanted to do something just for rec. And, the better course is to have a township-wide, so you're not singling out. And then when we adopt it, then they will just incorporate that into their code of conduct that they already have, and then they can just include in the code of conduct that they agree to be bound by the social media policy. So that should be coming hopefully by next month, right? Brent,
Yes.
we'll have something by next month. I also wanted to start a discussion on hours of operation, both really two-pronged. Two topics on that. First, as a cost-saving measure, I just want to throw out for the Township Committee to consider and to start a conversation, not to suggest any vote at all tonight, but just to at least put it on the table as to considering moving to a 4-day work week for Greenwich Township, Monday through Thursday, and then closing for Friday. And I just wanted to know.
Does that, are you suggesting that they work the same hours within 4 days, or are we reducing hours and moving people at part-time for cost savings?
No, I think it would probably require an expansion of hours on those 4 days so that it would be the same amount at the end of the week. I think it's more designed, my thought was, in terms of just the overhead of, the heat, the electric, that type of stuff, to move to a 4-day. And then I think on those 4 days, if the hours are a little bit wider, it might also provide a better customer service to the residents, because the hours might be a little bit earlier. You may be able to stop in before work, or you're rushing home from work, someone might be there. That was my thought in the process.
So the cost savings you're thinking about would be more around closing the building 1 day a week, things like that?
I think so. And there's a movement towards that. I'm not saying it's, obviously every municipality, but that is starting to be discussed, and I just thought it would be something that, we could have a discussion on, as to whether it's something that, makes sense for Greenwich Township.
We need to consider Yeah. Yep. Because asking them to do a 4-day work week based on their contract would be something that would have to be negotiated into the
Right.
contract.
Right.
But more importantly, if there was a 4-day work week, how do we stagger when they have off? Because we certainly can't have another day where the DPW was closed.
Well, that's the next item on the agenda that we're gonna, in terms of that's part of the hours of operation, I can just bring it up. Last Friday, there was vandalism that occurred on the building on 173, down by the steel bridge going into Bloomsbury, that old green building. There was a large profanity that was painted on that building. My phone and email lit up like a Christmas tree. And I had reached out to Kim and said, can we find out who the owner is, contact the owner, we find out that the owner abandoned the property, it's been abandoned for the last 3 years, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's contact DPW, let's go get a couple gallons of paint at Home Depot and cover up the profanity so people aren't staring at it. And lo and behold, on Friday, like in My Cousin Vinny, where he says, the whole store got the flu. There's nobody there. We had no DPW department. Our entire DPW department was closed down because last month, we all discussed Joe going down to Atlantic City, which was fine. Well, John Howell is out playing golf, and the other, Mr. Oberly, calls in sick. So we have there's no discussion or schedule of operational needs. And we need to, as a committee, make sure that that never happens again. We can never, under any circumstance, have...
Sounds like John must have had vacation days scheduled.
He may have, but see, and therein lies the problem. John is scheduling a vacation day when Joe is known to be in Atlantic City. That's exactly why there's a problem. Like, we need to make sure that if that's the case, that, the third person understands that, that's a day that they can't, and if there's an emergency, then one of the people needs to vacate, to the extent that they
We
can.
probably have a similar situation with the rest of the municipal employees, that if that situation happens where someone is out sick and someone's on vacation, it's possible that we have a similar situation. I mean, I don't know that it's happened, but, so I hear what you're saying, that we need to address it, but to be honest with you, as a DPW liaison, no one even mentioned this to me prior to right now.
And do you...
And what day was it?
It was last Friday.
Last Friday.
Do you have any conversations, have you had any conversations or discussions about, protocols for scheduling, who does that,
Well, John's the supervisor, so John would do that as the
Okay.
manager.
Then maybe as the liaison, maybe you could tell him that we could put it on next month. We need to have a conversation about some sort of scheduling protocol. Maybe he can offer some suggestions as to how he thinks, or you, in HR, if you have any suggestions. But we need to, I think, have a conversation about that and make sure that a policy is in place so that if like this, and this, I consider this to be somewhat of an emergency.
So I guess the
There's
question I would
levels of
ask
degrees.
is so obviously someone notified you that all three were out.
Correct.
Who notified you that I didn't get notified as a liaison?
Who notified you?
Yeah,
that
how
I
did-
didn't get notified?
Right, as
No
the
one-
liaison to the DPW.
I wasn't concerned about that. I was concerned about responding to the issue of the graffiti and trying to get it rectified on that day.
Right.
When it came to my attention that there is no scheduling protocol that I'm aware of in place that addresses operational needs, I placed it on the agenda tonight so we can have a conversation about it and develop something.
I'll work with John and we'll get something in place.
That'd be great.
Do we know how often this has happened in the past where two guys, one guy's off on educational and the other one has a vacation day, then somebody gets sick?
I've never heard
Yeah,
it
I don't think
in
that's
10
something
years,
that really happens all the time.
No, but it should not.
Yeah, I don't want to leave it to chance though. I mean, we need to have something in place so that we're at least being proactive
Right.
as opposed to just, crossing our fingers and hoping that, that somebody shows up. We need to have them sensitive that there's an impact, to that. So, I don't know, does anybody have any other thoughts on going back to the 4-day work week. Do you want to just consider it and then put it on the agenda next month?
Well, I think, well, personally, I think that we need to take a look at what kind of cost savings we would achieve by doing that. And if we are closed on Friday or we pick a different day,
I don't
Are
think we
we-
could pick it, I don't think we could pick another, I'm sorry, only because you've got the court, and you've got the court, you've got our meetings. It seems like in looking at the schedule of activity, it would probably have to be either Friday or it wouldn't be doable, based upon, you know, the way that we kind of are doing things right now.
so would we, so let's say the building's closed on Friday and something occurs that someone needs something. Do we partner with another town to get that taken care of, or how does that?
No, I think we treat it like a Saturday. What do we do on a Saturday?
Well, we're not open on Saturday.
Right, so we would be open on Friday. We would treat, in my mind, you would treat it the same way. We would go to a 4-day work week.
I think.
Well, not for, no.
That's what I'm saying, no,
He's like.
I dig the building and I know who's in the basement, I'm like, well, who's gonna shut your lights off?
Yeah,
It would be the same as
No,
a Saturday.
yeah.
It would just be, for them, it would be the same, unfortunately. Sorry.
No, that's all right. No, the only thing I was gonna say with that though is, how you treat it on a Saturday though is sometimes on a call out for overtime. Meaning that if we have branches down or trees down and we're calling the DPW out, if you're adding an extra day like that, there might be
That's
issues
why I
with
said
that.
it's probably improbable to do it for DPW at this time.
Yeah,
And
okay.
plus they have their contract, so we would have to work.
Treat them
along
separate.
But we could keep our lights on in the basement?
Yeah, you could keep your lights on.
Candles.
The candles.
No, that's what we do, you need those red flashlights, man.
Red flashlights?
Yeah, I need those nice flashlights.
No heat, no air
No heat.
conditioning.
Solar? Okay.
Wear a heavy coat.
It's got the vest.
Just check, I got the vest, we're good.
Do we know of any municipalities that do this right now?
I do.
Do you?
Independence. They
Yeah.
started doing it about,
Did Oxford start to?
no. Oxford basically has one person in the building pretty much all the time, sometimes two. Oxford's
Cohab
very
had that
sparsely
too.
populated.
They had very little.
Yeah.
At one time, you had to ring a bell and kind of like
Yeah.
pull up and ask for an appointment.
And I'm gonna say, it's been a few years now. Maybe somebody wants to call their mayor.
I was gonna say, you know,
Yeah.
maybe get in touch with them and ask them how that works for them and how they.
What the cost savings is.
Yeah,
Is that
that's,
John?
What's the cost savings?
no, Bob Giordano.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, someone should call Bob and find out what it is. No, because it's been a few years.
Yeah. Let him talk to Marcy and Bob Giordano, no, John Ito, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's Liberty. Does Liberty 4 days too?
I think so.
No, I don't
I
know.
know Lisa had said something about Knowles. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, that could be. But Independence is definitely 4 days.
I just want to add, I'm sorry, I'm almost done, but I want to add on, so we'll follow up with Independence, and then we'll put it on next month's agenda, and then if anybody else has some thoughts, we can discuss it. At the rec meeting, in addition to discussing the social media issue, there has been, they actually started to look into the cost of a digital sign, if you will, or an electronic sign for communicating. And we wound up talking about it for some time. And I'm sorry, the new gentleman on rec, his name is escaping me. What's that? Yes. He had actually started the process of getting inquiry. He emailed this to me. And I thought that we could have a discussion about whether this is something that makes sense for Greenwich Township. I kind of like the idea in terms of providing a mechanism of being able to communicate with Greenwich residents, whether it's don't forget to vote in a primary, or don't forget that there's, you know.
I don't think you could put that on that.
I think you could. I think you could.
Where are you?
I don't think you say who, but I mean, you could say Community Day. You could talk about. You could talk about. You could talk about. You could talk about. You know, the cleanup. Yes, I understand.
This would be outside, Richard.
It would be outside, not here. I don't think you could do it here in the center of town. I was thinking, and actually somebody in rec had suggested, and I think it makes the most sense, more down on our public property down by Lowe's. You know, which is more commercial, you don't have to worry about light pollution in terms of, you know, by residents. And then, obviously, most people, whether they're going in to get their food at ShopRite or whatever, they'd be able to, you know, be able to see it. The cost on this one was about $7,000 for this sign. I have not, you know, looked into whether this is a high price, a low price, an average price. It's just something that, like I said, you know, Rec had started to look at. As you can see, the top picture that I provided to you, someone must have done some artwork or some mock-up, you know, for Rec, and that's what they were looking at. So I said, I'll bring it to the Township Committee, and you know.
Do they have budget for this, or are they asking for budget?
No, they're not, no, this would be, it's not for that, this would be on our capital improvement, right, exactly.
It would be a township
It would
sign.
be a township sign that would include, you know, don't forget to register for soccer, or whatever the case is. I mean, you know, whatever we traditionally do, where we're posting on the website. So I think it would just be an enhanced way. We would have to obviously review it with the sign ordinance and to see. Yeah, I mean, we would, and, you know.
It's not compliant.
Yeah, it's not.
I know.
No, let's not even spend a second in doing that analysis. It does not comply.
Oh, okay.
There's numerous reasons. it
Well,
doesn't.
and as a municipality, we
are
have the
exempt.
right to not have to comply to that.
We are exempt.
ordinance.
That's why I was thinking, I was actually shocked when you said it doesn't comply, because my thought is, it absolutely would, because we are not.
Oh, well,
We're not-
well, then why would we bother checking? That's why
Yeah,
I thought
we
you
need to
said
be
that,
the
because
role
I know
model.
we're
We
exempt
need
as
to be
well.
the
I don't
role
think it's
model.
No, yeah, but I also think that, you know, in enforcing that, in terms of where all these other things are picked up, this is a better way of communicating and actually allowing the sign ordinance to be enforced, because there will be an alternate vehicle for being able to get that, so it's not all these
Yes.
lawn signs all over the place, it's in one neat spot. I mean, as opposed to soccer, this and that, and all over the place, which is a clear violation of the ordinance. This would at least give somebody an opportunity to get to connect to the residents where it's important. So I actually view this as complimentary for taking it to the next step. In other words, in terms of being consistent.
My only concern is that if we put it up the road, it's open to vandalism. So if you get somebody driving by or something like that, whereas out here in front, and I know we can discuss where it's gonna go, but, you know, out here in front, I think it's in a safer spot, because you got the police here, there's always there's something here.
LEDs. And this thing, it looks like it's pretty bright, you
This-
know, and
this
we're
would
gonna
be
be
bad,
having the same
right.
problem as the rubble strips.
You'd have
Light
light
pollution in front of
light
these.
pollution.
Like it was the
It's
car
too
wash.
industrial here for the Hamlet Stewart, so I mean, to me, it's better situated.
Then I think that, you
Down the
know,
road.
if it goes up, because how high would this be? Do you have any ideas? Would it be
This,
up or-
this looks like
8 feet
it's,
tall.
it's,
No, it's 8 feet wide, so 4 feet and 3'6", 7'6".
All right, we can,
yeah, the
You got
specs
4
are
foot,
here.
There's all
4 foot
different
here
specs.
and 3 foot.
It's a little under 8 foot from the ground up. Yeah.
That would be my only concern, is vandalism.
But I just, again, it's nothing that, you know, we need to or should be acting on tonight, clearly. I mean, but this is just to start thinking about it. I could put it on next month's agenda too. Maybe we can have, you know, additional, Brent, you can review the sign ordinance if you think, you know, we need to make sure that we're not running afoul. We can gather some other, if you guys want to look into, you know, other, you know, possible, this is something that we would need to go out to bid on in terms of the price, right? So
No, you're under the bid
we're under
threshold.
the bid threshold, so
You want to get quotes.
we could just we could get 3 or 4 quotes and you know, take a look at it and have a discussion, but that's all I have for today. So with that, we go to Elaine, you, we're a little behind the eight ball.
Mayor,
Is that-
you said at the end, do you mean the very end or your end?
I meant the end, but
Okay, you just said 2015 for the water, is that when they're gonna start or they're going to finish putting in water?
we don't know.
I don't know. We don't have any definitive dates. It's a very general, we haven't even had our first discussion yet. We're dealing with the federal government.
Okay, and my only other comment is, can they put fire hydrants in if they're going to put water?
They will.
Do that?
Yeah.
They will do
You
that?
will get fired.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You don't like the bucket, Deb?
What's that?
You don't like the bucket control?
They like the
You don't like the bucket
I got
control?
a pool in the back, but if, you know, your insurance doesn't, if you put a fire.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Within so many feet, if there's a fire hydrant.
It's gonna increase your
Well,
resale.
we had well.
Oh, I know that.
And it's gonna decrease your insurance, absolutely. It's gonna cut your insurance.
Oh, that's great. It's all good, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that helps.
Deb, with your permission, Deputy Mayor can continue? Okay, thanks.
I'm going to make a motion, or I'm going to ask for a motion to withdraw the second reading of the public hearing on ordinance 2012-13.
Yeah, you're making a motion to withdraw the ordinance in its entirety, 2012-13.
Just so the other committee folks know why we're withdrawing it, can you just give
Sure.
like a brief
Yeah.
explanation?
At the last meeting, you had a first reading on this ordinance. You also had a resolution that authorized the agreement. It went to SADC. They wanted to expand the 25-foot wide exception area easement for the sanitary sewer to 35 feet in width. So as a result, and this is all recent, I mean, this just happened.
Within the last couple of days.
Matter of fact, I just got this afternoon.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, what we need to do is to have a first reading on a new ordinance, because going from 25 feet to 35 feet is a material change. So that's why I recommended that we withdraw this other ordinance that we had, and we move on a first reading on a new ordinance. And also, we need a resolution to authorize an amendment to the existing agreement for the same reason.
Correct.
So I'd like a motion to withdraw ordinance 2012-13.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Perez?
Yes.
Siegel?
Yes.
Valari?
Yes.
Miliani? Yes. Torello?
Yes.
Okay, I need to introduce an ordinance of 2012-16, which is an ordinance authorizing the Township of Greenwich to acquire and assign to the County of Warren the development rights to the property known as Lot 26 in Block 26 on the tax map of the Township of Greenwich, Warren County, New Jersey, from Jose Dominguez.
I'll make that motion. Second. Roll call.
Perez?
Yes.
Siegel?
Yes.
Valari?
Yes.
Miliani? Yes. Torello?
Yes.
So we'll have second reading on that the next meeting.
Correct.
And I need a motion to authorize resolution 2012-76, which is authorizing the mayor and the clerk to sign a first amendment to the agreement to sell the development easement, block 26, lot 26, Jose Dominguez.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Perez?
Yes.
Siegel?
Yes.
Laurie?
Yes.
Miliani? Yes. Torello?
Yes.
Okay, under open space, we have a motion, we need a motion to hire appraiser John Musna in the sum of $3,000 for compliance with the new SADC requirements for separate appraisals to the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Services for farms assessing farm and ranch land protection programs funds with regard to the Dominguez property with the completion date of October 1. Did you say there was an extension on this? This is
No,
something
not on
Okay.
this one.
All right. This is for the appraisal. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Perez?
Yes.
Siegel?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Miliani? Yes. Torello?
Yes. Okay, Tom,
Okay.
we're only an hour behind schedule.
Where's that? All right, just, first line of item is a community day update. It's being, the weather looks good, so it'll be held on the 22nd, which is Saturday, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. The schedule of activities is the opening ceremony at 1 p.m. with Mayor Torriello.
Actually, that's not going to happen. And
And
Elaine will be there. There is just so you know, there's a service for Stuart Koenig at Rutgers University. There's a memorial service between 12 and 1:30.
I will do my best to,
What time do you want to start? Because we can
2:30
arrange this with the
let's,
board.
let's do 2:30. Let's do 2:30. I will make sure I will be situated in
Do
an
you just want to
appropriate
push it
place.
for, do you just want me to say 3 o'clock?
If you say 3 o'clock, that's a no-brainer, guaranteed to
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine, so we'll move
All
to
right, so
3.
we'll tell Gordon to be there for 3. Okay, because you're doing
Perfect.
the honoring of the ceremony.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's great.
And you guys will.
It's not
hold
mentioned
it
in
for me.
here. Opening ceremony.
Playing golf Saturday.
Yeah? Playing with John now?
Okay. Entertainment, we have some of the standards. DJ Tim Mason, who's been our DJ for quite a long time in the township. Band Naked Jake that Kim has procured. We did a great job last year. And Kim has also done an outstanding job in getting Dwight Gooden for 2 hours to sign autographs here from 4 to 6 p.m., which is
Was he here last year? Was that the same guy?
No, Dwight
Yeah, we had
Gooden
some-
probably has never been to Greenwich.
Yeah, he's Yankee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yankee and Bet. So tell your friends. Great job, Kim. Being very creative and energetic towards getting.
Yeah, both
Thank you, Kim.
Kim, you and
Yeah.
Tom, you guys really,
Yep.
you did a great job.
All around it. Anyway, there's some circus time rides for the kids, recreation games, contests, and obviously a lot of good food being offered by scouts, recreation, local businesses. So,
Did we resolve the Quates,
yes,
boards?
Mr.
Finelli
Finelli,
They are in my
Wait,
truck
man,
right now,
donated
when I'm done, I'm
the
gonna
two
go
sets.
unload them and they're here.
I know how to pronounce it now.
We still owe a trophy.
Well, sir, I've ordered 2 trophies to be awarded to the winner of this year's tournament. Because there's a date on the trophy, I'm saying 2012. And I've also ordered 1 lone trophy, 2011.
Nice.
For the winner.
Good job.
Okay.
I didn't forget it, Dan.
Okay.
With that said, it looks like it's going to be a great day. I just want to say thank you to Kim. Your energy and dedication to this community day has been exemplary and unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's
Yes.
every year, and this one more so. It's my rookie year having it, and there was a lot of new ropes to learn, and it was interesting and fun, and having meetings with the community. It was great to meet the scouts and meet everybody coming in and doing this whole thing and planning. It was interesting and fun.
Wait
So,
till next year.
thank you. I would like to say thanks to Dan Perez, who did me the honor of the what I say is kind of be the most difficult part of community day from a working standpoint is organizing the volunteers. I did it for you when you had it, and he was gracious enough to do it for me. The National Junior Honor Society is sending 25 students in 2-hour intervals from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. to volunteer and get community service. I also have some Bethlehem Catholic High School students coming, and recreation. Because I asked. But Dan's been gracious enough to organize and make sure every vendor that shows up, anybody who needs
They
any
know
help.
his name, right?
Yep, they know exactly who he is. They know where to meet him, and we're working closely with Karen Corman, who runs the Honor Society for Stewartsville Middle School. She's been great in organizing her team of children to help us out this year. So there'll be much more volunteers than last year. It seems to be a little more organized. I know, Dan, thank you very much, and I know you do a good job. Keep getting these guys, everybody some help that they need, setting up chairs.
And
tables.
also Sunday, cleanup.
And the Sunday cleanup was organized by Chief Guzzo with the Department of Corrections.
Yeah.
So they'll be cleaning our wonderful area after we mess up. So, great, that's it on Community Day. Next point is the fire department. We have a second reading, public hearing for ordinance 2012-12.
14.
I'm sorry, -14. An ordinance providing funding for improvements to municipal-owned property and appropriating $10,000 from the general capital fund balance.
Can I have a motion to open up for public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to be heard on ordinance 2012-14, please come up.
Just kidding.
Seeing no hands, a motion to close public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No, you have to make a motion.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2012-14.
Read it, Mike.
An ordinance providing, all?
Yeah.
An ordinance providing funding for improvements to municipal-owned property and appropriating $10,000 from the general capital fund balance.
I'll second.
Comment? Roll call?
Wait 1 second. On here it says, one says 10,000, the other one says 12,000.
Oh, it's my time.
Well, that could be a problem.
Well, the ordinance says 12, that's what was advertised.
Oh, so the agenda is wrong?
The
The
agenda's
agenda's
wrong?
wrong, it's 12.
Sorry.
Thank you, Dan.
Good
Yeah,
catch,
thanks,
Dan.
Dan.
Pardon. Reread?
Yes.
Somebody's paying attention.
Make a motion to
Doesn't
adopt
matter.
ordinance 2012-14, an ordinance providing funding for improvements to municipal-owned property and appropriating $12,000 from the general.
I'm
capital.
sorry. Is there a motion to withdraw the prior motion? We didn't vote on it, so
No, we
we're
didn't vote on
okay.
it. Not to-
No,
We have to do public hearing.
yeah, why don't you?
Should we just start over again?
Yes, why don't you just open up with a public hearing?
But do I need to make a motion to withdraw? We didn't vote on it again, right, so we're okay?
Right, you haven't voted on anything.
Okay, I just want to make sure
Right.
that we're clear. So, is there a motion to open up for public hearing on ordinance 2012-14, an ordinance providing funding for improvements to municipal-owned property and appropriating $12,000 from the general capital fund balance?
Because the public hearing is
I second.
an hour and 12.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to be heard on ordinance 2012-14? Seeing no hands, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2012-14, an ordinance providing funding for improvements to municipal-owned property and appropriating $12,000 from the general capital fund balance.
I'll second that motion.
Comment? Roll call?
Perez?
Yes.
Siegel?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Torriello?
Yes.
Motion to award bid for insulating the aerial apparatus bay.
What's the, what was
That was the,
where,
I
what's the
see
cost?
car- it was the,
It's in Tom's.
was it the back?
It was like 8,700. wasn't it?
Tab
It's
10,
87, that's okay.
there's a letter from the fire chief.
Right.
8,700?
Total is $9,000 to PHILO insulation and fireproofing for a total of $9,000.
Yes.
Isn't that what the capital expenditures for?
Capital expenditures for 12.
Right.
We're awarding this for 9, so the other remaining money will be,
Put back.
Put back.
Yes.
No other things?
no,
Okay.
and the chief is recommending.
Just to be clear, Lynn, we did the ordinance for 12,000 because at
It
the
was general,
time,
we didn't know.
we
what
were
to do.
relying on an old
Quote.
Yes.
quote, and we
Okay.
didn't want to delay the project,
Right.
so we
Okay.
did 12,
Yeah, I
recognizing
wasn't
it was,
here.
we were probably
Correct.
overshooting.
Right.
We just
Okay.
didn't want to get ourselves into a jam, and as
That
it
was
turned
correct.
out, it was only a $300 increase
I just want to make sure
from the
that.
stale quote.
That
That's,
$30,000 goes back.
no, that's what that was for, procedurally.
Okay, so when Lorraine does the movement of funds
She will
for
return.
in November, we have to make sure she returns it.
Correct.
Back to capital.
Back to capital.
Correct.
Yep. Okay.
Good.
So did anybody make a motion to award? I don't think so. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Comment, roll call?
Perez?
Yes.
Siegel?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes,
Torriello?
Yes.
do we have the name of the contractor that we're awarding it to?
You read into the record?
Yeah.
Philo Installation and Fireproofing Company,
Okay.
1024 Easton Road, Regalsville, Pennsylvania.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on.
Yes.
Okay, we're requesting a blue light permit for Michael D. Mexi for the fire department, volunteer fire department.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Comment, roll call?
Perez?
Yes.
Siegel?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Torriello?
Yes.
Okay, for the emergency squad, blue light permit for Lisa Haller.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Comment, roll call?
Perez?
Yes.
Siegel?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes,
Miliani?
Yes,
Torriello?
Yes.
and also the induction of new member Gage Sullivan.
make the motion.
Second.
Comment,
Marlene's son.
roll call?
Perez?
Yes.
Siegel?
Lauren?
Yes.
Leoni? Yes. Really?
Yes.
Well, your son was strong.
Thank you, Tom.
He's
Michael,
very
it's you.
Okay. All right, since we're behind schedule, try and zip through this. Elaine, real quick, did you see both of the emails regarding the striping and the tree trimming?
Yes, I saw those today.
And the striping, because the striping one just went out like
Oh, no.
6:30.
No, I didn't
The
see
guy
that.
called back, they're gonna restripe. So,
Excellent.
just so you'll see it. Yeah, so it was
Excellent.
all good
So
questions.
there's no problems, good.
Okay, we're talking about restriping at the Greenwich Center, which Elaine called me, I followed up, they're gonna restripe, because there's some areas there that really do need restripes, okay. I condensed my report a little bit, and got rid of some items that have been hanging around. It did shrink it a few pages, not as much as I thought, and whatever, we'll see how it
But it
goes.
is.
It's
it
a
is
little
better.
more manageable,
Yes.
for what it's worth.
Agreed.
A few things are just hanging around, like Highlands Plan Conformance and so forth. And speaking of which, today, a letter came in from the Highlands on the WMP review.
Oh, wait,
And
yeah?
I'm just gonna read you one sentence. This just came in
Just
today.
one sentence.
This says it all.
That's all I want to
It's
hear.
beautiful. Letter dated September 17th, received from my office today. Approximately in the middle of the letter, from Gene File to Mayor Toriello. As the Township Municipal as to the Township Municipal Response Materials, the extent of unresolved issues suggests that a completely different approach to plan conformance may be in order. I don't even know.
We can't even.
They
do
probably
that.
don't even understand what we sent them. That's my
exactly
take on
right.
that comment. So, this clear, I sent it to Balzano,
I saw
because
it.
he wasn't copied, so whatever.
it to
The
me?
letter came in, here it is, so, okay.
Oh,
Capital Facilities Planning, I don't think we're gonna talk about any of this tonight, but I did send out everybody a report that was done a number of years ago, so that's for
and it was
your
updated, I think.
your viewing pleasure. Yes, it's been
2006.
updated. There's a bunch of stuff. I
It's
mean,
not-
a bunch.
Yes.
This was a one report that kind of made some conclusions, that's why I sent it, okay.
Michael, but if,
Yes.
because I know it came in late, and I was literally like driving when you sent the email, so I really couldn't.
What do you,
The
you're going
letter.
back to the,
This Highlands letter.
oh, the Highlands letter.
The
I see.
Highlands
Oh,
letter.
sorry, Joe, because I
So-
went to another, okay.
Yeah,
good.
so the
Sorry.
Highlands, so
Yeah.
in skimming it, and I really am saying I skimmed it, I did not read it, and I was looking at it on my phone, so it was
It's
hard.
fine, it doesn't do it justice.
The first,
It
I
should be
thought,
here, by the way.
it was not.
Really?
If you didn't send me a copy, I would have never gotten it. I did not receive a hard copy.
Because it's to you.
I know, I
Okay.
did not get it. It is not
All
in
right.
my mailbox.
Okay.
When's it dated?
It's dated September 17th. We got